Shalom, giving our honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. As always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the tabernacle of David, the four elect, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, y'all pay attention to this devil here. This is the same man who got so many different projects going on, where he's trying to change how food works. He's trying to change people's genetic makeup. He's trying to block the sun. He's doing all type of diabolical experiments on the world. And yet he's declaring, what should be done, as far as, this new infrastructure. And basically what you're going to hear him do is boast of his heart's desire, which really it goes back to the globalist elite. This is their heart's desire. You read that in Psalms, the 10th chapter, around the 3rd verse. It says that the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire and blesseth the covetous. All right. This same demon, who definitely was on them EP files, he has a rap sheet. He likes to experiment on humans. He likes to shoot people in the arms, little children. A lot of people, you don't even know half of what this devil is guilty of. But yet they're able to dictate your future. So listen to this guy, all right? He's going to give you reasons as to why people are going to have to come up under this new beast system, right, which ultimately is going to lead to the mark. So let's listen.
But there's a lot more that all of you can be involved in driving forward, is this digital public infrastructure. No country is more able to take government benefits and get them out efficiently and effectively to their citizens than India. You would have expected rich countries or others to do that, but in fact, they did not. And so that basic structure that starts with identity and bank accounts and payments is just foundational.
Now, just connect the dots in all these different countries that's been rolling out their new digital ID mandates. We heard Europe, months back, that it was going to be mandatory for them to come up under the new digital ID system. And if you don't have it, you ain't going to be able to go to work. You're not going to be able to do this and do that. All right. And we've been saying that, all the technology that's starting to become outdated, like cards, you can now use your phone to pull out information because everything is digital. Well, there's going to be a point in time when it's going to become subdermal. Okay, you're going to have to basically go through scans and kiosks to be identified. So that means the technology is going to be in your body somewhere. And that's how they're going to be able to read and track everywhere you move, everywhere you go, and all the information will be attached. So we're not, like the scriptures say, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, we're not ignorant of his devices. All right, but just connect the dots as you listen.
And as part of this visit, I'm now seeing how that foundation is being built out in agriculture with profiles of farmers to understand what they need and give them advice. Built out with health records so that we can help people not only with infectious diseases, but the challenge that's coming in the future with the growth of the non-communicable diseases being a huge thing. And that digital public infrastructure.
This is supposed to be a philanthropist. But he's telling you, yeah, this digital Tower of Babel idea, it's a great invention, you know, and for these inventions, these ideas, you know, this is supposed to make these people as if they're, you know, they're benevolent, productive citizens of society that want to make a change for the betterment or development of the world. All right. And it sounds good to the simple. All right, but we know the scriptures, what the scriptures say about these devils, man. Proverbs 26 and 25. And it says, when he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Let me get it in the NLT. And it says, they pretend to be kind, but don't believe them. Their hearts are full of many evils. Okay. So, you know, just off rip, based on the history, you know, when you can, trace this dude's name through all types of projects and experiments that led to the deaths and injuries of, lots of people, all over the world. But yet they're designing the plans, for a new infrastructural rollout. Nah, not to trust anything that they're coming with. But this is pretty much the design to digitally imprison the world, the entire planet. Okay, this is what they've been up to. Let me get a quick script, because they want to have tabs on everything moving. Psalm 56. This is Psalm 56 and 6 in the AMP. It says, they attack, they hide and lurk, they watch my steps, as they have expectantly waited to take my life. They can keep tabs on you, keep you under full surveillance, and if they suspect that you're guilty of any wrongdoing, or you speaking against the system, there's a way that they can try to take your life. Whether they roll down on you, they're gonna put us under what they call it, the credit-based system. You have your social credit score, and certain privileges can be deducted, based on things that you've done or said, until eventually they just confiscate everything from you. All right, and leave you with nothing. You don't have access to anything. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. And that's another way that they can try to take you out. All right, it tells you that in Revelation, the 13th chapter, that if you don't, receive his mark eventually, which will be used to identify you, and it also serve as a badge, all right, to serve this beast, you won't have access. You won't be able to buy or sell. And that's what they're controlling right now through this new system. They're going to control how you buy and how you sell. Okay, they're going to be able to, use this financial system to reprogram how things are purchased in all financial transactions. All right, and you go against the grain. You decide to stand up for righteousness. You're going to make yourself a target, and they will eventually come after you. All right. Take away your rights, take away, your privileges. And like, a matter of fact, let's actually go to Revelation 13. Because it says that if you don't bow down to the image of the beast, you would be killed. And, it can mean that literally. I mean, it does mean that, because they're going to eventually have those who stand up against this system, all right, for the sake of the Lord. They're going to be interrogated, more than likely imprisoned, and then some of them are going to be beheaded, right? But, there's other ways that they can, X you out. And basically they can kill your whole identity, because you're good as dead without identity and citizenship. When you have no status, you can't do anything, right? Revelation 13:15, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. That word killed is from the Greek word apakteno. And it says to kill outright, figuratively to destroy, put us to death, kill, slay. And matter of fact, to also show that they don't have to physically kill you to actually kill you, if they can turn your money off, if they could prevent you from getting money, if they can withhold your bread or take away your means to live and survive, that's pretty much like killing you. I believe it's in Sirach, is it 35? I think it might be the 34th chapter. Yep. Sirach 34 and verse 21. And it says, the bread of the needy is their life. He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood. He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him. And right now, how do most people in the world, how do they live? How do they survive? They survive by working and making a living, their daily bread. They're earning wages so that they can pay their bills, pay their rent, pay their mortgage or whatever. Keep the lights on, have gas in the house so that they can have some heat, electricity. But you cut off my means to be able to live because you control it now. You control the means of buying and selling because everything is now under this one digital infrastructure. You can cut that off if you feel as though I'm an enemy of the state. If I'm breaking certain rules and regulations, I'm not complying with certain measures, you can actually cut that off. And once you do that, you basically slayed me. you killed me. So just imagine how it's going to be, once they, set this whole structure up and, the old way is obsolete. You can't use dollar bills anymore. You can't pull out debit or credit cards anymore. You now gotta, get the C-hip. And if you can't get it, you can't do anything. So that in itself is gonna take away, certain privileges that you once had. It's going to take away your livelihood when you don't comply. It says, and he that defraudeth the laborer of his hire is a bloodshedder. All right. So if you don't worship this beast, You don't follow, this man's new system and come up under that infrastructure and be identified. He has the power to basically slay you. All right, whether he physically does it or whether he just take away your livelihood. Okay. And as a matter of fact, hold up. Let me go back to that word again. And let's go to the root word, apo. And what does it mean? It says of separation, of local separation, after verbs of motion from a place, i.e. of departing, of fleeing, of separation of a part from the whole. All right. And separate you from which we're to be separated from this devil anyway, this world, because we're a holy people. Where a whole, some part is taken of any kind of separation of one thing from another, by which the union or fellowship of the two is destroyed. See that? So yeah, they can cut you off, separate you from the system. All right. Then you'd be left to fend for yourself. And they already control everything, the food, all the resources. So once you're separated from this beast, you're going to have to fend for Yahweh Shem Yahushai and walk in faith. This is where it's going to be very tempting. This is where, the scriptures talk about there being an hour of temptation that's going to try the world. Because all the power is going to be with these devils for this temporary moment. All right. This is when they fill their belly. Yeah, we finna make sure everybody come up under this new digital tower Babel that we built. And we're gonna oversee the entire world populace. And everybody better comply or we're gonna cut them off. All right, so either be a slave or die. That's the line being drawn. Okay. But they're trying to act all benevolent and humane. They're trying to, nobody believe you devils anymore, man. Okay. The man of sin is being revealed, and this is, what comes with that. Okay. Verse 16, it says, and he causes of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. So that's people of every status. It don't matter what status you are in this world. You're going to have to be a part. If you want to live, it says to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, the charagma, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. All right. And this will be your identity. Okay. Is how he will be able to identify you. Here's wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And you should know this breakdown by now. All right, especially when that last number, which is 6, and the actual Greek word for it, which is a stigma. And ultimately that's, the stigma it was how they identified cattle, in the ancient world, whether they branded them. Nowadays, the modern day brand mark is putting an implant. You want to find your animal, you want to find your cattle. You happen to lose an animal, you can identify him and track him down. All right, let me get that the word stigma. And this is from Paul's epistle to the church of Galatia, Galatians 6:17. From henceforth, let no man trouble me, for I bear my body the marks of the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right. He's referring to, the wounds, the piercings of our Lord. All right. And the word there for marks is stigma. It says from the primary stidso to stick, i.e. prick. It says a mark incised or punched for recognition of ownership, aka identification, okay, i.e. figuratively scar or service. It says in a definition, a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master, because, charagma, they'll say it's the stamp, an imprinted mark, a stamp of the badge of the servitude of the anti-Messiah, all these different definitions. But this ties it in even more, even though it's a different Greek word. But it's the same idea, right? It says the stamp of their master or commander branded or cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belonged to. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. Okay. So this is eventually how they're going to identify people. And they're going to say, well, we need this because of, like what he's saying, well, we need it for climate changes. The world is out of control. There's immigration crisis, these different false flags being done. So we need to have everybody under control and under surveillance. This is for national security purposes, so on and so forth, man. So this is their way of trying to get ahead of it and, paint it to the world as if this is going to be some big, brilliant plan for the betterment of everyone. Well, not to trust these devils, man. Sirach 12:12, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. All right. You're going to see that, when they try to humble themselves and play humanitarian, they're really, coming up with devices to control you or destroy you, one or the other.
Structure will help us with these climate problems. I was in Odisha yesterday, and what they showed is that they've registered the farmers and registered what type of crops they grow and what land they own. They literally have a control center. When you walk in, you think, wow, this is agriculture, but you've got a command center and maps and people doing queries and sending out messages. And so that all started.
And this same demon, he, remember back, was it 2021? He purchased a lot of acres of land in the U.S. All right, all the farmland he purchased, in various states, acres of farmland. And we know this the devil who been wanting to experiment with your food. And matter of fact, by the way, it was said that while these people are being distracted, that Mr. Gates, they're giving him the okay to pump the mRNA into your produce. So we got to be rescued, because like the Lord said, if he doesn't shorten the days, there will be no flesh to be saved. It's of the Lord's mercies that we're not even consumed, man. But he's trying to change the course of nature through all these different endeavors, and he has the money to do it. Okay? These are the ungodly that prosper in the world. They increase in riches. So this is what they're doing with this long money that they possess. They're setting traps and, using their power to do evil. And that's why ultimately the Lord's going to He's gonna strip them and bring them down. All right, especially Job the 20th chapter. It tells you. Let's go to Job 20 real quick. I'll read verses 4 through 5 first. It says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment? Yeah, because their time is coming. They coming up with all these different plans and projects and agendas, but they don't realize that their time is coming. And once it's your time, you can't tell the Lord, nah, give us some more time. Hold your hand back. Don't, nah. Once the Lord comes for y'all, you devils, man, that's it. All right. It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, and that's their heads in the clouds because they're super proud. They're proud because they have the power that they have, the wealth that they have, the technology that they have, right? Yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? So he's gonna be in his lofty position, with his heads in the clouds. They're right now they appear like God, like they're God status, but then in the moment it's gonna be like, damn, what happened? Like 50 said, damn, homie, in high school you was the man, homie. What happened to you? This what's gonna happen to the elite when Yahushua returns, man. It's gonna be a complete change of roles, man. They're gonna go from riches to pits, and we're gonna go from rags to riches, wealth, power, rulership. Because look at how they're ruling the world right now, man. It's all in wickedness, and none of this shit is wise at all. All right, and it tells you that the welfare of the people is in a multitude of the wise, but they don't have the people's best interests. They actually want to get rid of the people. Wisdom of Solomon 6:24, and it says, but the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and a wise king is the upholding of the people. All right, but leave it to the elites, the Bill Gates of this world, the Yuval Noah Harari and all these different devils. They're not bringing any welfare to the people. They're bringing nothing but misery. Okay. When you jump up above, starting at verse 1, it says, hear therefore, all you kings, and understand, learn ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. All right, these are talking about the world leaders. It says, give ear, ye that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations. For power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works. Everything that you devils have done and is continuing to do. It says, and search out your counsels. And they have all these counsels. Psalms the 83rd chapter, it tells you, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. All right. It also tells you in Psalms the 2nd chapter, why do the nations rage? Let me grab it. Why do the heathen rage? Why do they imagine a vain thing? In Psalm 2:1, it says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? And that's dealing with their their plans and imaginations, their inventions. It says the Hebrew word chagag, chagah, and it says to ponder, imagine, meditate. Down here it says to moan, growl, utter, muse, mutter, meditate, devise, plot, speak. This is what they do when they have these councils among themselves. The one at Davos, that's just one of them that they allow the world to be able to see. But there's ones that we don't see too. But it's all to help roll out this New World Order agenda. It says the kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord, right? And against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Meaning, we're denouncing the king of the universe and his only begotten son. And we're going to take the position to be the world rulers, the ones that defy and transcend everything the Most High created. All right, we're going to take charge. We're going to take ownership. We're going to take control. That's what they're trying to do. And hey, there's nothing new under the sun, because y'all tried to come together with a one world idea under Nimrod during the Tower of Babel, and the Lord he broke that up. All right, it wasn't a complete success, so the same thing applies. All right, the Lord's getting ready to break this whole thing down. Especially you Edomites, everything that you're gonna try to build, the Lord said He's gonna throw it down. When you read Malachi, okay. Verse 4 says, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Especially when the Lord starts to show up with his right hand. When the Lord starts showing that right hand power, it's going to be up, man. So the Lord's getting ready to hold you devils accountable. All right, because it's leading to too much, deterioration in the world's infrastructure and the ecosystems. Everything is falling, all because these devils and their God complex. So continuing on, it says, for power is given you of the Lord, because the Lord, He rules in the kingdom of men, and set up over it whom He will, even the basis of men. Right? It says, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels, because being ministers of His kingdom, you have not judged aright, nor kept the law. Everything that they do is never based on the law of the Most High at all. Like it tells you in Psalms 36, the Most High is not at all in their thoughts. So it definitely has nothing to do with the law, or else they wouldn't try to put a C-hip into you. That they wouldn't try to destroy your food supply. Okay? They wouldn't be trying to block out the sun. It says, nor walk after the counsel of the Most High. Horribly and speedily shall He come upon you, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places. And that's these super rich elite. And they know that. They're guilty. So they're going to try to do everything that they can in their power to get everything in position. And then they're going to try to go underground and hide from the judgment. Because if you're not guilty and you're confident of that what you're doing by the world is all in righteousness, then why hide? Why do you have to go underground? Why do you need a doomsday plane? Why do you need a deep underground military base or luxury bunkers? Because they know that they're guilty. But let's finish this out and then we'll close out.
Starts, with an Adhar identity, listing those farmers, getting the information, making sure it's up to date. The place that India leads, but there's a lot more that all of you can be involved in driving forward, is this digital public infrastructure. You know,
Yeah, so he's out in the open announcing it, all right? And they want to take control of everything. They want to put your feet digitally in the stocks. Job 13 and 27 in the NLT. And it says, you put my feet in stocks, you examine all my paths, you trace all my footprints. All right, and they're trying to be like the Most High. All right, so that's why eventually the Lord's gonna make them a thing of the past. Okay, let me jump down. Yeah, Job 20 and 20, it says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon them. That means that these people are going to start resisting and coming against this system. You know, not everybody's going to comply with this devil. They're going to fight, try to fight back. That's why it's going to be, sedition, uprisings, commotions, instability. Because they're pointing out who's behind all this. They know these faces. All right, and that's basically what Gates is. He's just a face for what the elites are trying to roll out. Okay, so you're out there, so people know your face. And see, and it's crazy because all this smoke that they have for the Diddy's and the R. Kelly's and for the shit that they do, these people are not nearly as appalled and angry towards these type of men. These people will be totally outraged on the internet. Oh, Jay-Z's name came up, so now we got to be angry at Jay-Z and boycott and counsel him now. Act like you never was dancing to him in the club, and you know what I'm saying? You wasn't bumping his stuff, wearing Rockaware and all that. Come on, man. But if Bill Gates, strolled through your neighborhood, he's good. Y'all won't even say a word. You won't even throw a rock. So you people, man, y'all finna have y'all get y'all time too. All right, but there are certain people that know. All right, and when it says every hand of the wicked shall come upon them, we always break it down. You go into the Hebrew, the word is aimal, which means the laborer or toiler. And these people are burnt out. They tired of keeping this whole infrastructure afloat by staying on that damn hamster's wheel. Because every day it's the same thing, repeated process. You wake up early as hell in the morning. I'm up right now early. Pacific time is I've been up since 4. I get up at 4 o'clock every morning. Just to have time to try to do one of these lessons because I'm at the plantation all day. So if I don't get up and do a lesson, while I got a little time before I head to the damn plantation, it's like damn, I'm gonna be tired. I'm gonna be more tired later when I come back from work. So I'm gonna barely want to do anything. So I try to take the time now to do something, and then eventually, if I can get home and have the time to do another one, and then still have time to make you dinner, make sure things around the house might be straight. You might have to run a few errands. You're trying to stay in shape, so you trying to get time to hit the gym for a bit. But it's like this is an everyday thing, everyday process. So people are burnt out and tired, and certain people are gonna be like, man, fuck all this, man. So you people that are rich and you ain't got a care in the world, like it tells you in Psalms the 73rd chapter. They're not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued. There's no bands in their death. They don't have any worries. They have all that you could wish for. So people are starting to see, man, this shit ain't fair at all, man. This shit is all one-sided. This whole system is designed and generated to benefit one small group of people. So that's why this is going to eventually start to go down. All right, all these people in the world that are sick and tired, they're going to start coming against these super rich. It says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. And what is he going to rain upon them while he's, enjoying the benefits of his wicked labor of crafting and building this new world order? It's going to tell you the next verse. It says, he shall flee from the iron weapon and the bow of steel shall strike him through. What is that iron weapon? What is that bow of steel? It's talking about them nuclear arrows, man. All right, when them nukes get to flying, that's what's going to rain upon their whole system. All right, starting with Babylon the Great. It's going to be thrown down in 1 hour. All right. It says it is drawn and cometh out of the body. It's going to come up out of the silo. Yet a glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. Okay. And that's what's going to bring all of this to an end. All right, once and for all. It says, all darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And the Lord said he's going to, reveal their iniquity and put them all to shame. Okay. It says, the increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the days of his wrath, and riches profit not in the day of the Lord's wrath. All that's going to happen is going to be translated from one people to another. Like it tells you in Sirach, the 10th chapter, the 8th verse. All right, because of unjust dealings and riches gotten by deceit, by injuries and by deceit, the world's translated from one people to another. All right, and that's going to, come to the house of Jacob, the real true chosen people, not the ones that are perpetrating now. So I just had to do a lesson responding to this right here. This is, going around right now. So this had to maybe been recent, but they're talking about it. So this is what their plan is, which we already knew all along. All right, a biometric digital tower of Babel, connecting your social behavior, your bank account, your medical history, medical records, to keep tabs on the farmers and, all, because they want it all. They want to control everything. Okay. So hopefully y'all are edified. Let me give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Until the next lesson, I'll say Shalom.